Hey guys, it's Zorn1220 here with a video on some easy tips on how to climb in competitive. These are tips that they don't require any sort of skill, but require playing smart and communicating. And just so you know, I am a plat on 2 different accounts, so if that makes you think that I don't know what I'm talking about, I understand, just go ahead and click away. But I think I actually have some valuable information to share with everybody because I've played with bronze people all the way up to diamond people, so the only elo I have not played in is masters, so I feel like I know a decent amount about what some issues that plague Overwatch. So to start off, I want to talk about the key component to a team game, that is communication. Communication is probably the most important aspect as a team in Overwatch. You have to talk to each other, so please just start off by joining the voice channel. I don't care if you have a mic or if you don't want to talk, just be there to listen. Most likely somebody will start speaking up. If not, try to become a shot caller. But basically, just try to communicate with the team. It will help improve your gameplay. It'll make games seem a lot easier. Talking is so important. One of the best things that comes from communication is coordinated ults. For example, I've seen a lot of Zaryas play and they'll catch 5 or 6 people with an ult, but because they didn't tell anybody on their team that they were about to ult or where they were even throwing it, nobody was in the position to capitalize off of it, and therefore no kills were secured, and you have a wasted ultimate that takes a while to charge up. So communication can help you talk with your teammates, let them know what your plans are, instead of just going in like a lone gunman and wasting an ult. And also, another thing is that people tend to overcommit in team fights with their ults. They'll use 4 or 5 ults in one fight when all it would take is 2 well-coordinated ults to wipe the enemy team, if you do it properly. And so, once again, if you talk with each other, then you can coordinate ults and use fewer and therefore have more available for the next fight, whereas if you use 4 or 5 in one, then it's almost a guarantee that you're going to lose the next fight if the enemy team groups up. Another point I have when it comes to communication is don't flame. So many times you'll have people that don't like a pick or don't like the way somebody's playing, and they will come at them with a negative attitude. They'll just say, they'll cut them down and tear them apart. And then that almost guarantees that that person's not going to listen to a single word that you want to say. They're going to play worse or just purposely play bad just to spite you. So be careful of how you approach different situations. For example, if somebody's playing poor on DPS, let's say there's a soldier that's just not doing his job right, then instead of saying, hey soldier, you suck, why are you even playing DPS, you should just kill yourself or whatever, you've heard it all before. Instead, say, hey, I'm not playing effectively in my role. I feel like I could be more effective if I were to play a soldier, or maybe we need something else besides the soldier. It's just not working for our comp. Don't specifically cut down the person and what they're doing, because it's only gonna tear the team apart. And that's the last thing you want to do in a team game. You want to be together, you want to be coordinated, you want to stay calm, cool, and collected. So don't flame. And the last point I have when it comes to communications is identify the threats in the fight. Talk with your team, let them know who might be a troublemaker on the other team, what y'all need to do together in each fight in order to survive. For example, in this game that I'm showing right now, there's a Roadhog, and I had played with him in the previous game and knew that he was a good Roadhog and that he would be a problem. So I told my team, watch out for this guy, he's good, he's going to be an issue, let's focus him down. But as a team, we did not focus him in the fights, and therefore he ran us over, he made great pulls and constantly made picks and was almost single-handedly carrying his team, and he just tore us apart. Another example is Mercy, we can all agree, is not a meta healer pick right now, hasn't been for a while. But if she's left alone, then her res can have a huge impact on fights. I had a game recently where in every team fight we were playing well, taking out targets, but we ignored the Mercy in the back. And therefore, once we had expended a lot of our ults and everything like that, she jumps in, resurrects them, and now either we're down a person or we're down a lot of ults and we have to redo the fight and end up losing it. And so when it comes to team fights, you have to identify the threats first and figure out where they are, try to focus them down first. If you do that, you will win more team fights. So if you know that there is a problem maker on the other team, communicate that with your team and make sure that y'all all focus them whenever y'all are fighting together. And then my next point has to do with a specific game mode, and that is 2CP. And one of the biggest issues I see in 2CP is people just loving to poke at the choke point. We stand there behind the Reinhardt shield and just spam everything into the enemy. And we will continue to do that until we make a pick, one pick. But then once you make that one pick, everybody just sits there and continues to spam into the enemy. We don't actually try to press the advantage. You've now created a 6v5. Don't stand there and try to poke down the entire enemy team before you go in. Push immediately and try to force a team fight in a smart way, because you're now up a man, you have a major advantage. So instead of standing there and poking at the choke point and letting your enemies charge their ults, press your advantage and try to take the point while you can. And then also another point on 2CP, this kind of goes out to Lucio players, Lucio mains. There are a lot of people that think he needs to be played in every single 2CP, which I kind of agree on. Sometimes people just won't follow the speed boost in. You'll boost them in to get to the point together as a team, and they just don't go anywhere. Sometimes you gotta know Lucio is not what you need right now. You gotta switch off the champion. Which brings me to my last point. Sometimes you have to say screw it to what you want to play, and you have to switch to what you need. A lot of times we'll have people insta-lock the heroes that they want to play, and they think this is what the team needs, and it's just really not going to work. So you gotta know when to switch off, when it's time to try something new, and when it's not. We all know the times when people insta-lock heroes that we don't want to see on our team, such as Widowmaker or Hanzo. We as a community love to hate when anybody picks those two champions, and a few others. So in that situation, let's say you really wanted to play DPS, but they refuse to switch off their Widowmaker or Hanzo. Then sometimes you're gonna have to suck it up and just not play DPS that round and go tank if that's what your team needs. It just happens. Sometimes you can make it work, but then that goes back to my earlier point of don't flame. If you're immediately cutting them down on the Widow pick or the Hanzo pick or whatever it may be, then things are already starting off on a bad foot. Give them a chance. If it does go poorly, then go back to just calm, cool, and collected. Try to tell them that we need something else. We need something for the team that's gonna work a little bit better. So these are some of the main issues that I see plaguing almost every single elo in Overwatch. These are just things that I've observed in all my games and think that they should be talked about a little bit more. If you agree with me, awesome. If you feel like I could expand on some more points, let me know in the comments. If there's other things you'd rather me talk about, if you think there's stuff that's a bigger issue and want to talk about that, leave that in the comments as well. I'd love to hear your feedback on everything that I've discussed so far. Also, I would love if you leave a like and subscribe, and as I say in almost all my matches now, good luck and stay hydrated.